Hi, I'm Rick Anthony, and welcome to the Someone You Should Know podcast, the podcast that focuses on musicians, authors, and interesting people. We like to say we're making a difference one artist at a time. So sit back, have a cold one, and get ready to meet someone you should know. On tap this time is a returning guest from 2024. They got some brand new music. They're based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. The new album is called Music is a Scam. The band is Thirsty Curses. Joining me from the band, we got several members. We have Wilson Getchell, we've got Nic, and we've got Clay. Guys, welcome aboard.
Hey, thanks for having us, Rick.
Awesome. Wilson, we found out about you last time we were here. If you could do me a favor and everyone kind of tell us about your musical background, how you got involved with music and being a part of Thirsty Curses. So, okay, Wilson, just remind us how you got into the music business, and then Nic, and then Clay.
I've been playing in bands since I was like 14. In fact, Clay and I played in our first band together back many, many years ago called Spoiled Pemmican. But we've been, I've been writing songs and playing music, moved around a lot over the years. And when I got to Raleigh, maybe about 9 or wanted to kind of start a long-term project, and Thirsty Curses sort of emerged out of that. I'd moved around a lot over the years. But Clay and I had been friends growing up in Richmond, Virginia. So we played a lot of music before together over the years.
Okay. Clay, why don't you take it?
Sure. What he said. I played music.
What was your first exposure? I mean, was there a specific band, a specific style of music that really got you going into music?
Aerosmith. I love Aerosmith. No, I can't say for sure. Punk rock music got me into playing live music.
Okay. All right. Very good. What about you, Nic?
Kind of similar to Wilson and these guys. I mean, I moved around a lot. I lived all over the place, and kind of hooked up with these guys. I moved here 3 years ago, and had my drum kit out in my garage, and was kind of tired of playing to the spiders that couldn't escape, and put an ad out. And these guys contacted me, and it was just really hit it off with Wilson. And when he shot me over this new record, I really, really, really liked it, and we kind of took it from there. I mean, they really took a gamble on it, and worked really well.
Awesome. We talked together about a year ago, and besides the brand new album, what have you guys been up to?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big undertaking this past year. I mean, we were playing live and sort of developing the songs that ended up being on the record as well, particularly last spring. But then we started recording the album. We went in with, we actually recorded with John Agnello, who's done a lot of production of bands we like in the past. I mean, he did a lot of Dinosaur Jr., The Hold Steady, Kurt Vile, a ton of awesome bands and stuff. And he actually recently had moved to the Raleigh area within the last couple of years. And we enlisted him to engineer and produce. And we went out to Fiddleatorium out in Kernersville, Mitch Easter's studio. And we were out there for like 3 days, and we did the basic tracking. But then we kind of brought things home and did the overdubbing, which it's like the first 90% of making a record goes the quickest, but then the last 10% or whatever can really take the longest. But that was a big part of what we were up to this past year, and then just kind of working to get all things ready, and then also playing with shows and dealing with turnover. Playing shows and dealing with turnover.
Yeah. Speaking of turnover, you have a wall that's dedicated to past drummers, and I see that we've got a new drummer in Nic there. What happened the other one?
I mean, it just
bizarre gardening accident, choked on vomit.
Pretty much just after we had finished recording the record, he just kind of went MIA on a few occasions. So we just had to move on. But
it's a real welcoming thing when you come here to first meet these guys. This was sitting in the hallway, floating in, and
wow.
That's good. These guys don't have.
It's welcoming, but
it's very Spinal Tap-ish too. I feel like you say, what, Nic? Have you got a life insurance policy out like that yet, buddy?
Got to pay it up today.
Awesome, very good. What about you, Clay? What have you been up to since last year?
Making this album.
Just other than making the album. Man of many words there. We love you, Clay. We love you. Music is the Scam is the name of the album. How'd you guys come up with that title?
Well, there's just I guess a few things. It's kind of got a couple meanings, but we've had certainly an experience in the last few years where we'll be getting messages from people, trying to
Oh yeah.
Either push a playlist on us and get us to buy, or like, hey, we can give you this publication, yada yada. And like sometimes we had this phenomenon happen a few times where it would be like someone posing as a famous writer, on like but then also just the entire living in the streaming age where it's pretty much impossible to unless you're like a huge artist to really make any actual money off of music, and it costs so much sometimes to make a record. But it's kind of about all those things, and we also just thought it was funny, So.
Yeah, well, it's a perfect play on words and such there too, because sometimes it actually is. It's all about scamming people nowadays, and I get it all the time too. As far as you can get you can get 500,000 views on your I'm going, yeah, right.
Well, it's like sometimes we'll get these emails and they'll be like, it's like I love your music, yada yada. And you're just like, waiting for the for the sales pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, name one of my songs. Oh, we love them all. We love them all.
Right. Well, they'll like name the top 2 on like Spotify or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any deep cuts? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The first track we're going to showcase is your latest single called "Ride These Rails." Tell me about "Ride These Rails."
Yeah, I mean it's sort of a prog rockish track in a sense. It's got a huge build up in the middle. It's probably my personal favorite song off the album, and I guess as far as like thematic on the lyrics, just about struggling to find one's place, I guess,
right,
and sort of
exactly.
Actually, speaking of drummers, to some degree, it was like how nobody wanted to be on this life trade, I guess. I don't know, but like it's hard to find people to like go and like attack life with. To some degree.
Nic and Clay, what's your take on the song?
I like the bass line to it.
He's a good bassist.
Steady bop, and the kids can dance to it.
Awesome, very good. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Clay, what's your take on it? You're the drummer on it, so tell me about it.
Well, no, there's before.
Yeah, no, we like I said with the last guy, he was actually the drummer.
Was he really? Oh,
yeah.
All right. Okay, very good. All right, very good.
They had a really good locked in groove. So like when when I first got in touch with him, he and I were texting back and forth, and I pulled him up on Apple Music because I'd gotten a lot of responses from this ad, and some of them were crazy. I think I showed you some of the. Yeah, I think I showed you that Russian woman that wanted to do the really interesting dance music. I should give you that number.
Yeah, you should.
But he, I looked him up and I listened to it. And I was like, oh, this is really fun. He made a couple of references that I really quickly like. This guy seems pretty sharp. Then he sent me the Music as a Scam, advance list. And Ride These Rails is actually one of the ones that when I heard it, I was like, these guys are tight. It was also kind of a challenge because the more I listened to the record, the more I was like, their old drummer was really, really, really good. But I mean, that was his job, wasn't it? For the most part. I mean,
he did teach drums.
Yeah. But the song, like the play between Clay and their old drummer Jeremiah, and then the composition of it was just so well done, and it's a really fun one to play. I mean, I think that's probably one of the ones we had the most fun playing.
Now, who does the writing? Clay, do you do the writing, or does Wilson do the writing? Or is there a combination of both, or what?
I do most of the writing, and I'll kind of bring the songs like in a, we'll kind of arrange them together and kind of put the final pieces together as a band and kind of work out structure, breaks, changes. But I guess I kind of bring a skeleton and we put meat on it together as a band.
All right, awesome. Let's feature that song right now from the album Music is a Scam. Here's Ride These Rails from Thirsty Curses, featuring today's podcast guests Wilson, Clay, and Nic.
Ain't never worth it when you're going out.
sing another song. I meant every single word I said. You decided to make me prove that's how we ended up like this. But I still believe I'm like a child. I'm so naive. How'd you like to watch me go? They see me coming, they pull up the tripcord. I'm stumbling, falling all over myself. Ain't never worth it when you're going to hell. But I can't help it, I'm just being myself. Crawl on the floor, move around on all fours. We can see where it leads. It may open some doors. You can have all the time that there is in the world. Do you want more? Maybe less, maybe parts and some of it. I don't care anymore. You can take what you want. Take my life, take it all. I don't want anything. And oh my God, I can't believe we're going through this again. Nobody wanna ride these rails. They've seen enough, they know it's dangerous. But I still believe I'm like a child, I'm so naive. How'd you like to watch me go? They see me coming, they pull up the tripcord. I'm stumbling, falling all over myself. Ain't never worth it when you're going to hell. But I can't help it, I'm just being myself.
That's Ride These Rails from Wilson Getchell and Thirsty Curses. Also with us tonight is Nic and Clay from the band. More great music from them coming up in just a sec, but I want to first off say thank you so much for tuning in to the Someone You Should Know podcast. Thanks to our good friends at Buzzsprout. We stream to all the streaming platforms, and so happy to say that we reach over 2,800 cities in 106 countries around the world. And a couple we want to salute include Magnolia, New Jersey, Hermosa Beach, California, Arlington, Texas, and Sosa Cab Arte in Puerto Rico. All right. Someone You Should Know podcast or wherever quality streaming audio is available. Thanks again. We are speaking to the guys from Thirsty Curses. It is Wilson. It is Nic. It is Clay. And how does this album compare to your previous works, guys?
You know, for most of we were a 4-piece for a long time, and this first album we did is a 3-piece. But we certainly did do some overdubs in certain areas. But that's sort of one interesting thing. But I mean, I think the songs on it are the strongest. I mean, it's my favorite thing that we've done to date. It also, like, sound quality, you know, the last 2 albums we recorded ourselves completely.
Hmm.
So I mean, the production value is a lot better on this one as well. And also, yeah, just like getting to work with a storied producer.
Hmm.
We also had our friend Isaac Anderson in the studio with us for a couple days, who is a musical prodigy of sorts. I mean, he plays a lot of instruments very well and was, I believe, classically trained. And he he was in the studio with us and also gave like a lot of awesome suggestions as we were kind of crafting things and finishing them off. So I think to some degree, like having sort of outside participants kind of helping us produce and flesh things out was another component that was something we didn't have on the last couple records that I think really benefited
Right.
it
Right.
in the end.
Now you're releasing these to vinyl, and how hard is that process as far as taking your mastered product? It's got to be expensive too. So I'm kind of wondering how does that all work?
We have a guy who's mixed and mastered a lot of our stuff over the years, who also did much of this album. John Agnello mixed two songs as well, but he's kind of given us pretty good rates over the years. But so there was a master that we did, for general release, but then we also got our guy Benjamin Jankerson, Ben, mastered them also for vinyl. And that because they have to be like at a different frequency as far as like loudness, and I don't actually know the particulars of that, but so there's two separate masters, and then that got sent off to for the vinyl for pressing.
Hmm.
And I found the sort of best of vinyl release about a year or two ago as well, through a small label in New Jersey called Fake Chapter Records, and they'd had it pressed at Pirates Press, which is actually based in Czechoslovakia. But
Wow.
we just I was looking around and they actually had a special running right when I was looking to get them pressed, so it wasn't as expensive as it maybe would have otherwise been, but it still is, yeah, plenty expensive.
Very
But
good. Well, it's wonderful to see that too. I mean, I grew up in the analog age as far as I had 45s and albums long before I had CDs or anything else. But yeah, it's nice to have that feeling, that little bit of crack and pop and everything like that. It gives you a kind of a vibe that you got something really special here.
But what
Uh,
life is a surface noise. You're also thinking the RIAA kernel. That's when you master for vinyl.
right, that's right. I mean, the other thing too, I think, is that I've just found in recent years that that's like the type of music that people will purchase at shows.
yeah,
Sometimes people
exactly.
will buy CDs, but pretty rarely.
The cassette.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, the cassette.
Yeah,
Hipsters
and
still
some
into the
some people are
cassette.
doing the cassettes, but actually, interestingly enough, just as a side note, I've actually found that a lot of like young adults, like in their early 20s now, are buying CDs, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
It certainly,
think about
it
it. They've,
certainly
they've
is.
never they've never used anything with analog with any kind of
Yeah.
buttons on it until now.
Yeah. Hype Hub Magazine describes their next song we're going to feature as a wild, genre bending joyride, an encounter that leads you by the collar and won't let you go. No one sounds like Thirsty Curses, true to their trademark, and this track demonstrates it's louder than anything. What's your thoughts about that particular comment regarding reading and writing?
That's nice. I actually don't think I'd seen that one. That's cool. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's as with the last one of my favorites of this record. I'd heard a couple people say that it's sort of the best song is sort of an introduction to the band. I do
Hmm.
think it kind of encompasses our sound as a microcosm, just because it goes so many different places within it, but it all kind of fits together in its own weird way. So yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the better songs we've ever done as a band. So I'm definitely pretty stoked on it.
So let's talk about the video that goes along with it.
Yeah, when we've been putting a lot of these out as singles in the lead up to the album. We're basically putting out half the album as singles. The last song you just played was the last one, Ride These Rails. But, we were coming up with single art for each one of them. And the idea dawned on me, it's like, oh, we could use the Reading Rainbow, which was a old children's
Oh yeah,
education
yeah.
program that people of a certain age all saw in like elementary and middle school. And so that was really, then I kind of took the Reading Rainbow logo and reconfigured it to say reading and writing. And then after that, I was like, well, what if I tried to put the music to the intro to that show? And that's basically what that is. I mean, I did have to, I slowed it down a couple points and I ran it backwards at the end too, because the intro montage or whatever was only like a minute
Uh-huh.
15 or something. And the song I think is like 2:40 or something. So I had to stretch it out in weird ways to make it all uh stretch the length of the
Well, you
song.
did a great job. As a matter of fact, I'm going to include that down in the show notes. I want everyone to check out the video for the next song. We're going to feature reading and writing. Okay, gang. If you can't read the writing, you better practice reading and writing. Is that the line, I believe?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Here's Wilson, Clay, and Nick, Thirsty Curses and Reading and Writing on the Someone You Should Know podcast.
It happened gradually, then all at once. I just wasn't paying attention till the crash, but now my eyes are on the ball. That's right, if you can't read the writing, you better practice reading and writing. How else are you gonna prepare for the worst? If you can't read the writing, you better practice reading and writing. How else are you ever gonna learn? Keep your powder dry, don't get cross, don't forget to screw in your brain. With all the rivers we've crossed, now the stakes are raised. You're gonna want to be thinking straight. That's right. If you can't read the writing, you better practice reading and writing. How else are you gonna prepare for the worst? If you can't read the writing, you better practice reading and writing. How else are you ever gonna learn? When you were out there on your own, you did the best you could, but you couldn't find your way. You couldn't see the words. If you can't read the writing, you better practice reading and writing. How else are you gonna prepare for the worst? If you can't read the writing, you better practice reading and writing. How else are you ever gonna learn? Go! It happened gradually, then all at once.
Another great track from the album Music is a Scam, that is Reading and Writing. Guys, I see on your website, your socials and such, you've got some things planned for 2025. Anything coming down the road that we should know about that everyone should, make sure they have on their calendar?
On April 5th, we're doing a release show in Raleigh at Neptune's Parlor, which is beneath King's. And then we have a show booked in Durham in July, and we're just basically trying to get back out on the live front. We've been hibernating a little bit as the winter was in.
Well, it's been cold, guys. I don't blame you. Anyone's touring this time of year, I could understand that.
But yeah, I mean, we're going to release the record, and yeah, I mean, just start booking some more live shows is really the main goal there.
All right, very good. Could you remind everybody the website and socials so they can follow you?
Yes, sir. Thirstycurses.com, and I think all of our social media sites are the facebook.com/thirstycurses, etc. We are the only Thirsty Curses really around, so if you Google us or look in whatever preferred social media application you use, we'll come up because there aren't other Thirsty Curses. So we're easy to find in that regard.
Could you remind listeners, what we got here? Oh, there we go. Look at that.
I guess it might be backwards because
This should have been there the whole time.
This should have been there the whole time, yeah.
Instead of this
Put it on the drummer's lap. There you go.
Yeah, we'll just leave it down there. But yeah, this is the cover of the album. It's
Awesome.
That's another thing we pretty proud of. That
This is our mascot, Raunchy Rat.
Okay, Clay, what's the name of the rat again?
Raunchy Rat.
Raunchy Rat. And Clay, remind us how Thirsty Curses got its name.
It's hard to say. It's kind of the Irish talk of the curse of the thirst. It's a bit of a reference to I think something everybody deals with. The old thirsty
the
curse.
sins, the temptations,
Awesome.
but a strong desire for them.
All right, gotcha. I like the album cover too, guys. Last song we're going to feature, Diesel. What's the backstory on Diesel?
Actually, this one's pretty. This one's sort of about the fentanyl crisis.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the opening line of the song is nowadays everything is cut with diesel. Everybody knows someone. Yeah, because it's killing all the people, and that's no fun.
All right. So we're going to close the show with that particular thing. Guys, I want to thank you for taking time out of your evening to be with us here at the podcast. And keep us informed. Maybe another year from now, we'll go back and talk about your greatest hits and your Grammy that you guys won, and the fact that you're now hanging with the A-listers and such. So
funny story. I actually went and saw. I was at a show over the weekend and saw a band that the rumor had it that they had won a Grammy, and I asked them about that because it didn't add up because they had like 25 likes on Instagram or something, and they had just apparently posted a picture of them, like a fake picture. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people had taken it seriously, so they just decided to roll with it, and they were like, "Yeah, we won a Grammy."
Cheers, yeah. You can do anything with AI nowadays, Okay. All right, guys. Thanks
for having us.
Nowadays, everything is cut with diesel. Everybody knows someone. Yeah, 'cause it's killing all the people. Boy, that's no fun. That's no fun. Give me some. I'm all done. That's no fun. Nowadays we got nothing to believe in. We're just out here floating around. Yeah, but we can't stand feeling our feelings. So what you got to keep us down? Someone give me some. I'm all done. Give me some.
Hi, this is Rick Anthony, thanking you again for listening to this episode of Someone You Should Know. Now, if you're an aspiring musician or an established musician that's looking for a little exposure, I invite you to drop us a line at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. That's someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. Also, I invite you to tell a friend about the Someone You Should Know podcast. I thank you for tuning in this time, and I invite you to check us out next time on the Someone You Should Know podcast, because you never know who's going to show up. Until next time, remember, God loves you, and so do I.